At the end of the day, this is a video game we all like, so don't hate me for what's in this video. But I made a video a few months back called Eternal Return Unpopular Opinions. And in this video, I just gave a few spicy takes that turned out to be not as spicy as I thought, and then put down a tier list. So that's what we're doing today. We're gonna go through some more opinions I have on Eternal Return, and then we're gonna put together another tier list, and I know you guys are gonna roast me for it, but that's okay. We're starting off with our least spicy takes and then moving on to those ghost pepper level takes. But to start out, probably my least spicy take is people like to have waifus in this game, and they sometimes argue with each other whether they're of age, and that just is really weird to me. Rule of thumb is if they look like a kid, they look really young, no matter how old the devs say they are, it's still pretty weird. Next up is I think the team mode changes are not competitive, but that's probably a good thing. What Eternal Return struggles with is keeping that new audience, and having to res my new player friends over and over again is definitely not fun for me or them. So I think that change was actually really good, even though it kind of disrupted the competitive squad and duo scene. So I've been asked, what's your biggest issue with Eternal Return? And it's not the gameplay or the balance team, it is more so the lack of communication. And you might be thinking, well, they have a roadmap and they update us on all the new things they have in the works, but my issue is the communication with the game's future. I don't know if they're content with how the player base is now, or they're planning to have these big advertising pushes when the game is finally in a place they're happy with. I just don't know any of that, and it's kind of scary putting all my eggs into one basket, being like, yep, I'm an Eternal Return creator, when I don't know the future of the game. But at the end of the day, is that really something a game company should be sharing with their community? I don't know. So the next take is about the Eternal Return Battle Pass, and specifically Season 5's. And honestly, I like a lot of things in it, but overall, I'm not a big fan. I was talking to someone in my Discord, and they said it felt like they wanted to use all these assets during Halloween, but the Battle Pass system wasn't like ready in time. And looking through the pass, I'm starting to think he was correct. And maybe this is just the potential that I see being squandered, but I see all these cool thematic designs in Immortal Soul, like they could do an idol event, they could do a role swap event. I just see a lot of potential with these battle passes. So I do have one note on balancing. I'm not gonna act like I have all the answers, because balancing a game with all these characters is really hard. But when you see a character that is excelling in a team mode, like an Ekion or an Adri or maybe even a Johan, and then they get balanced or tweaked in all modes because of this, it feels kind of shitty. But yeah, that's the take. I don't have a solution for it, it just doesn't feel good. Most of these have been critiquing Eternal Return, but this one is more so a critique on the community. So I think there's a right way and a wrong way about Smurfing in Eternal Return. So why is Smurfing wrong? It makes the people that are actually in those ranks, when you climb through those bronze, silver, gold, elos, feel really bad, and it pushes a lot of people away from playing ranked. But why are Smurfs sometimes necessary? It's not just high elo players creating these to bully the low elo, it's more so they can't pop games because the Eternal Return player base is so small. So what is my solution to this? It's not a great one, but when I Smurf, I play on Jenny from the Dock. I play a different character altogether. I'm certainly not as good at this character, and it feels like when I'm climbing through silver and gold and even up to plat, I kind of feel like I belong there. And this certainly won't be the case for the cream of the crop who can play any character and climb, but it does make me feel like I'm smurfing a little more ethically. But that's my moral high ground. At the end of the day, it's a video game, so play how you want, but that's how I feel. So the moment everyone's been waiting for. Here is the tier list. Gasp, I know. Many shocking takes on this tier list. So to start out, let's point out a few of the obvious things. Ekion and Johan are D tier, they're the worst in the game. Ekion actually has some game-breaking bugs, so that one feels not arguable, but Johan has always just felt like dog shit in solos, and this is a solos tier list. So I'm gonna put him down there with them. A lot of people have been telling me to put Adri down there at the bottom of the barrel, like she's the worst in the game. But she has decent ratting ability, and if you take your fights smart, you can climb, so I don't think she's the worst in the world. So Bernice and Athapon get run down super easy, that's why I also have them in C tier. It feels like unless they're doing crazy damage, their lack of mobility just kind of kills the character. And then alongside them, I have Shoichi and Razi. These I'm not super sold on. You could argue they could go in A or B, and I'd probably agree with you. And then Bianca, she feels like she has the opposite problem with Adri in the fact that she does damage, but her kit isn't great. B tier, I think these characters are in an okay spot. You could convince me Isol should be lower, or maybe Celine or Laura should be higher, but that's just kind of where I put them. And then A tier, it's kind of the same way. There's a lot that could go up or down, but the ones that I think might contend for S tier are like Sua, Aya, even like Daniel or Hunwoo. Like I think these characters are all in like a really good solo spot, so there you go. So Kiara and Lennox actually had an S tier in my last video, and I think it's the same reasons. Kiara's only gotten better since, and I feel like she's just such a good like brawler. She can 1v1 pretty much anyone. And then Lennox, everyone has complained about this character, and she hasn't seen many changes. And then Leon, every once in a while he just does crazy damage and he's back in the meta, and then he falls out, and I think now is the time where he is in the meta. And then Sylvia, I think her kit's just so good for solos. I don't know if that's a hot take. I think it might be, but hey. And I know you're typing at your keyboard in my comments right now about to say, bro, your tier list is garbage, you're so biased, and I am a little biased. I put together a tier list on whether I like to fight them as Adriana or I don't, and this is how it looked, and surprisingly, it's eerily similar to the tier list that I put out. But what are you gonna do? Everyone has their biases. But yeah, if you guys like this kind of video, maybe a few months down the road, I'll put out a third one. But we just hit 3K subs. Thank you guys so much. We're gonna be streaming live on Twitch as always, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you. Peace.